Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Live with IAD. This is Chris Pflueger, the Managing Director here of IAD Florida, and I'm very excited to have a very interesting topic today. So our topic today is, what is it really like to be part of a Zillow Flex team? So we get that question quite a bit, and so I invited one of the top coaches in the nation, someone who's worked for Zillow, coached people all over the country, and works with our team here in Orlando, Florida, Ron Hutchenson. So, Ron, how are you today?
Doing well, Chris. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I have you down as a CFO, the Chief Flex Officer, and you have Power Builders and Ron Hutchenson as a coaching platform as well. So, let me start with the first question and lead into the second one. So, what the heck is Zillow Flex? A lot of people know Zillow is a platform where people go and search for houses, and if they're interested to search for one, they put in their name and someone will contact them. And as an agent, I can buy a lead. However, that's not true in every single market, right?
Yes. So from a lead perspective, from the agent side, Zillow has kind of like these two lead generation platforms, market-based pricing, where you could purchase the leads up front, and an invitation-only program for teams who qualify, get the leads. They pay for the leads, I would say, at the end of the closing, and they get a success fee. And so those teams are invited only. And so you got to be a special team to be part of that Zillow Flex program.
So that's rigid standards, right? So that's where you come in on the Power Builders side. So that's Power Builders is basically your program for Zillow Flex teams. You're a coach for our group, and you provide the discipline to make sure that we're hitting all the metrics that Zillow requires. We're helping to grow the opportunities we have. And if we decide to grow into other markets, you're the guy that helps us kind of plan that growth out by making sure we hit all our metrics, our targets, close as many deals as possible, help as many families as possible find homes out there. That's basically how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So those who don't know, I used to work at Zillow as a growth advisor for about 4 years. I actually helped start the Flex pro. Well, actually, I wouldn't say start, but in the initial phases when they were rolling out Flex, I was one of the initial growth advisors that started in Atlanta. We had Atlanta market, and so I had the opportunity to roll Flex out when it was just brand new. Work with agents and teams to make sure that they're meeting all the Zillow Flex metrics along the way, so that they can continue to increase their more leads. So the way the program works, Chris, is that as you perform and do well with that Flex program, Zillow, you can actually get more leads. And so Zillow does have some rigorous standards to make sure that they're getting paid, obviously, and that you're doing the best with those leads that they're providing you. And so my job was to, work with the teams, make sure they're implementing all the tools that Zillow had, and then make sure that their operations were effective, and that the sales agents were getting trained on how to answer the calls, how to move the lead down the funnel, and then how to, make sure that they're converting those leads so they can continue to get the leads and get more leads. The gap that I saw, so working for Zillow for 4 years, the gap that I saw is that as a growth advisor, Chris, we were only able to work with them for so many hours, right? We gave them a lot of tools and things of that nature. And then a lot of times when we came back to our strategy session, some of the things that I asked some of the team leaders and their staff to do was not completed, especially the smaller teams. I would say the small to the mid-sized teams, because some of the team leads were still in production. Some of the staff members were doing other lead sources, and Zillow sometimes was not a main priority, for them, which it should be. And I saw that there was an opportunity to create a coaching company or fractional sales, Flex sales manager that will play the role between the growth advisor and the team leader, and help implement anything that needs to be implemented to help that team either maintain the funnel metrics, grow the sales. And as they're bringing on new agents, onboarding the new agents, making sure they're getting all the training. And again, because it's a high accountability with Zillow Flex, that program, you need someone that's going to be there consistently working through there. And let me add one more thing. Because of the growth advisor, I wouldn't say turnover, Zillow does shifting a lot of growth advisors to other markets, which is smart. But what that did, it left a team leader with a new growth advisor almost every 6 months. And so everybody has their different style of teaching and training, and they're all great. It's just that I think the teams needed someone there more consistent to be able to make sure that program is running efficiently, and that's where Power Builders was born.
That's a fantastic explanation. So I'm going to throw this a little further. So from what we've seen in the past year, real estate agents out there have been, it's been a confusing market. There's a lot of changes, lawsuits, settlements, what's happening next. And, agents lack one thing you mentioned multiple times, which is discipline. And so, you're in business for yourself and you can do anything you want. And so agents tend not to be the most disciplined people out there. I'm an agent myself, so I'm with you, right? And so, having that accountability partner is absolutely crucial. So we've seen last year with most agents, we've had, I don't know, over 1 million agents in the United States. Realtors did 0 transactions, right? So we know that there is a market out there where people are really looking for a place, the right home. So what we're doing this for is to explain to people, if you're a real estate agent out there and you've been in the business under 5 years, under 10 years, could be anything, or you're a new agent, you're thinking, what I really know, I know that I'm not good at certain things, right? So I really need to join a team where I can jump in, make some money, get some transactions, and really follow a process. This at IAD is a place for you, because our Changing Latitudes team, which is the one we work with in Orlando with Dave and Carrie Courtney, they said, hey, we need to bring on someone like Ron. So Ron, you're the person we brought on. Of course, you're the guy that did it. And, Zillow said, we think Ron's a great idea too. Like, they think it's a good idea because they want to see the transactions kind of come through, but they want to see the teams working in a certain way. And again, that's the most productive way to close deals. All win-win for everybody. So here's my question. So if I'm an agent and I'm joining a Zillow Flex team, what can I expect both working with you and from a lead flow perspective? And, what are the benefits really? What do I get?
Well, let's just go back a little bit and let's just talk about an agent. And so when you get your real estate license, and you decide that you want to be in the real estate business, you want to grow a real estate business. Well, one of the things that you need is marketing, right? They don't teach you in real estate school to market to get leads, whether you're doing, if you're investing time or you're investing money. A lot of new agents who left the business spent so much money trying to figure out how to generate new business, right? How to get a name and a number and a conversation, a meaningful conversation, right? And so a lot of that time was spent there trying to figure that part of the business out, Chris, before they even learned real estate, right? And so that left a group of that 1 million frustrated, so they left the industry. Then some of those agents joined a team who was not a flex team, and some of the leads that they had were not high intent buyers and sellers, right? So I might join a team that I don't even know where their lead sources are. I'm a new agent. I don't even know if someone says, hey, I provide leads. I'm thinking, I have no idea what lead sources are and how they convert, et cetera, et cetera. I have no knowledge of that. So I joined a team that may have a lead source where they're getting internet leads, right? And not knowing that I have to dial for hours and hours and hours and follow up and trying to get one good conversation. So again, a chunk of my time is still doing lead generation, right? You got to do a lot of lead generation. And then if I get 1 or 2 deals here and there, it's still not paying all my bills, right? So that group of people left the industry, right? Because they don't know where the teams go, where to go onto a team, or if, well, I would say going to a team is a good thing because of the structure, because of the leads, because of the marketing. That team leader has already figured everything out. The challenge is finding the right team, right? And I believe if you join a team that has Zillow leads or Flex leads, those are the most high intent buyers and sellers around, hands down. I don't care any lead source. There might be
love it or hate it, right?
love it
Love
or
it or
hate
hate it
it.
on the Zillow side. That's a
You're
fact.
on the bus or under the bus, however you want to figure you're on the
That's a
bus.
fact.
You got to figure out your way, right? And so some of these teams decided, you know what, I'm going to partner with Zillow. I'm going to get some of these leads so that they could be able to allow these agents to come in and start working real estate faster than they would if they were on their own. Now, is it a cost? Absolutely. Everything costs. There's nothing for free, right? So, but the upside of that, Chris, is you're going to learn real estate a lot faster. You can take an agent on a flex team versus an agent on a regular team that's providing them training on how to find leads. The agent on the flex team is going to get deals within 30 to 45 days, closed, right? Feeling confidence, because that's what you want to do when you're in business. You want to build your confidence. And now they got the confidence to continue to go into the real estate business. And so that's why it's just so critical for maybe agents looking to say, you know what, I don't want to do this by myself. It's like, I give an analogy of like, high school. You remember everything was structured. It was like you woke up, your parents they made you go to high school. There were some things you had to do with structured courses. Then when you get to college, you can kind of pick and choose. Well, you had structure first, right? And you were begging for freedom. And then when you get to college, you kind of screw up because you had too much freedom. Well, I think sometimes agents, especially agents in the first 3 years that maybe did not work on a structured team, but that team has pretty much figured out the marketing, the systems, the technology, the training, the support. They figured out all of this stuff. You plug and play. But imagine being on a team that has, like, I used to say the New England Patriots when they were like winning the Super Bowl. Imagine joining their team and you were here, all the players like Bill Belichick had that team so structured. Well, the benefit of a flex team is that the Zillow leadership, the tools and the training that those teams get to structure their business, they're able to leverage that to other lead sources to really structure their business how a real estate business should be run. And that's the benefit that the agents will get from that.
Well, I have to say, there's three parts. We've discussed this in the past. There's three parts to being an agent, right? There's the prospecting, there's working, with, after I have the sign up and we have an offer, and there's working through something and closing a deal. And then the follow-up that follows afterwards to get referrals, right? So there's three different parts of a transaction, right?
Yep.
To be a good agent, if someone takes the first part away, which is the costly portion, which is time-consuming, which everybody's really poor at, to be honest with you, which is the lead generation, right? Mm-hmm. You build up to it over years, like you mentioned, but sometimes you just realize I'm not good at this. And I just want to have transactions as it comes in. There's places you can go, and it's very expensive to be part of a team. Like, it's very expensive.
Oh,
whereas IAD, we know what it costs to be part of the Zillow Flex program, but IAD, we have the most simple and straightforward program as far as we have a rev share program for every agent who joins. We have everybody who comes aboard has that mentor as they come on. So we built in a lot of safeguards for agents to be more successful. But if you join and you're part of the Zillow Flex team with Changing Latitudes, you also have a solid lead flow that you're going to get a closing very, very quickly. So we think the combination is just absolutely dynamite for newer agents. But sometimes there's agents that's been out for a while and said, listen, I know what I can't do. and I really can't lead generate, I just don't have consistent lead generation, you can dip in and out, right? You can be part of the Zillow Flex team, and then 6 months later say, listen, I'm just going to be part of IED. I don't need the Zillow Flex anymore. And we can turn you off and keep the other agents who do want to be on there in there. So it's some flexibility within our own program that allows agents to really be successful. I love it.
Chris, I really think that's the best play, because you want to graduate from the team lead, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's a split, that you have to pay to Zillow and to the team lead, and you want to get your feet wet. And the second thing is you want to build a pipeline, right? A lot of teams that I work with, that I coach, allow their agents, especially in the revenue share type models like yours, they allow the agent to transition from the team to the rev share group and take their pipeline with them.
Yep.
Think about this, Chris, for an example. The average lead here in Atlanta is about $1,000, right? $1,000, $800 to $1,000, right? If you were to buy a Zillow lead itself. You join a Zillow team, you're getting 10 to 15 leads a month, right? And then over a year's time, you're building your database, you're getting referrals from those leads, and then you take that database with you, still with the same group, but you're not on the lead team anymore, where you're getting the leads from the team, and you're able to kind of get, so it's almost like going from high school to college, right? And you're graduating. But you could go from college to the master's with a revenue share group like yours. Let me explain to you. So imagine you have an opportunity to meet an agent and you invite them to the group, right? So let's just say Changing Latitudes, for an example, and they qualify to be on Dave and Carrie's team, and they're on that flex team, but you've graduated because you built a pipeline, you got your own business. And you're getting revenue share, Chris, from the new agent who's joined the flex team. Like, where is that possible, right?
It doesn't, right? It doesn't exist. And in ours, and Dave will correct me if I'm wrong, but he doesn't take an additional split to be part of the team. You're just part of the team, and you're part of his organization for his rev share. So he does it. And it's probably the least expensive place in the United States, if I'm not wrong, in order to join a Zillow Flex team because of the way the splits are set up for us. So you can just participate immediately in this program. You have the best of both worlds, right? So you never need to leave. You can graduate, as you mentioned, to the next level.
Right.
And you can join. You can create your own team, and still benefits Dave because he's part of your upline, and it benefits everybody else as part of it. So they're always encouraging you. And that's one thing I think it's important to mention here, right? Is a lot of environments where you join, where I came from before as a former Remax, corporate employee, right? You'd see a lot of offices that were really, really highly productive, and they'd have one or two really great producers, and they may have a few people on their team, but there's very adversarial relationships because they're working against each other in a market.
Right.
At IED, we're all working together. It creates more of a community feel, and everybody's like cheering you on to be successful. And that's where most agents become the most productive, is when it's a conducive environment for that growth. And that's what we want to see, is everybody grow. We're here to make sure they succeed. So as the managing director, I don't have a team, right? I can't create a team. Whereas in most organizations, that person would be like, I have the biggest team. I don't. I have none of it. I'm here to help those agents and those teams just grow on their own. And so the benefit here is not only do you get the opportunity to be part of a consistent lead source, a great organization, the tremendous training, support, everything we have, but you also get Ron, if you're on that Zillow Flex team, right? And Power Builders as part of an additional coaching. So it's a win-win for everybody, I think, in this case.
And here's the thing that our coaches, what we do special here at Power Builders, and again, we like for agents to graduate from Flex, right? So that it makes more room for new Flex agents coming on the team, especially when we work with other revenue share groups as well. But if you're not getting referrals from these Zillow Flex clients that you're working with and building your database, because that's what we teach them, how to how to walk away with something that you built. Most agents, Chris, come in thinking sales, which is a part of that. But are you building something that and you maintain it so it can continue to give you sales? That's what we specialize in, especially with the flex teams and these leads coming in so consistently like they do, right? We teach those agents how to use that pipeline, use that lead generation source flex, build themselves a pipeline, maintain that, increase that pipeline with other resources that they got from Zillow Flex. We coach and train them on how to build a pipeline, use all the tech stack and the technology to do that, the social media, et cetera, so that they can graduate and be able to have a sustainable business from being on that flex team. That's what we're good at.
Ron, I'll have to throw in one thing here at the end because I love the way you said that, because they're building up their own sphere, right?
Yep.
From the referrals over the period of time, which they don't have to pay referral fees or anything for down the road.
They don't.
The best part about this with IAD is when you decide to leave the business, most people, that's our joke, right? You've never been to a realtor's retirement party because they can never retire, right? They never have any money. But here, you actually are building up that revenue stream that you can sell to somebody else, not part of us. You can sell to somebody else and you can actually get money for it and actually build a retirement account that's your business. So I have to say, Ron, the question always comes up, how do I find out more? Well, it's right there below, right? So if you're looking to find out more about this and how to join in the Orlando market in particular, but in and around the state of Florida, look us up here at the changinglatitudesfl.com under careers. And you can talk to Dave or Carrie about joining their team, working with Ron down the road as part of the Zillow Flex coaching at Power Builders. It all comes as part of your joining, right? It's all part of the deal. So, Ron, I have to say this has been not only informative, but fairly entertaining, right? For everybody out there, I think they really see the benefit of being part of the Zillow Flex team, what you can get out of it. And the great news is you can start today. So take a look down below, give us a call. We'd love to have you join. And Ron, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining us here at Live with IAD, because it really helps everybody understand what the value is that you bring, what we bring, and how they can get started to be a better real estate agent in the future.
Yeah, and absolutely. They could, if you want to reach out to us, you can find me on social media at Ron Hutchenson, RONHUTCHESON, no N, on all the social media platforms. DM me, or you can email me, coach@ronhutchenson.com if you are a team or you're an agent looking to join. But if you're looking to join in the Orlando area, Changing Latitudes is an amazing team I'm working with right now. They got all the tools and the resources. We're coaching those agents up, getting them to 1, 2, 3 sales just from that flex lead source. And then we teach them how to expand that and build a pipeline, like we're saying, and take that and graduate to the next level. So super excited working with Dave and Carrie. We've been working together for a couple of years now. I used to work with them when I was actually employed with Zillow. And then when I left Zillow, they came looking for me and said, hey, help us out with this coaching thing. And we're growing the leads month over month. So I'm super excited.
Fantastic. Ron, thank you for joining us today. We're going to do some live events in Orlando so we can have more agents learn more about it. But today, this has been fantastic. Thank you for joining. Have a great day.
Take care, guys.